And chances are, even if you're working hard, you're not working the most efficient way possible. And that's exactly what our Attention to Detail Virtual Academy is here for, to assist hoopers all around the world with practicing the right way. As a hooper, you're on go all year. Really, every single season is basketball season.
Mr. Williamson says no, sir.
Look out.
When you're playing, you have your foot on the gas at all times. You're moving in all directions, jumping, doing new movements every play without much rest. So if you're playing in games, working out, even shooting around, plus getting in the weight room, which most hoopers are allergic to but they absolutely need to do, it takes a toll on the body. And your body will wear down over the course of a year or even a month. But it's more than this. When your muscles or other structures get worn out acutely, it's something we call peripheral fatigue. But your body works as a system. It's not a bunch of isolated structures. So what we're really looking to measure in terms of basketball or really any sport performance is something we call central fatigue or central overload. And central fatigue isn't just purely physical. In fact, it's mostly psychological. Central fatigue relates conveniently to the central nervous system, which is the brain and spinal cord. So when you feel that dead feeling after a long period of training, not only in your legs but in your body as a system.
Man, I'm tired of shit.
It's not just physical. You could have stress from school, from relationships, etc. And literally everything going on in your life is going to decrease your performance and increase your chance of getting injured, unless you're managing all this stress in the correct way. So for example, there's a study that shows that motivational music can actually improve performance through fatigue. I mean, I know personally, if I'm at the end of a hard workout and I need a push, if I turn on something I like that's motivational, it literally objectively increases my performance. And that's just proof of central fatigue. The music isn't making my muscles untired. It's just helping me push through that accumulated central fatigue. And that's the thing about central fatigue. It can be pushed through, but do we really want to? When we get fatigued, our proprioception significantly decreases. We don't move as crisply, and that's big. Plus, that's really only one reason why when your body gets fatigued as a system, injury occurs much more often. And you literally cannot jump as high, run as fast, or just perform overall as well on the basketball court. And as we all know, being healthy is a skill. It makes you money. So we have to know as athletes and coaches when to listen to our body. And we'll go through that right now. So first, you always have to keep track of yours and others' body language. Just take a look at their posture. Are they hunched over? Are they falling into poor habits posturally? This goes for facial expressions too. Are they wincing or showing discomfort even as they go through a warm-up? Do they simply look burned out and tired? A lot of guys will look up or down out of fatigue, showing discomfort or unhappiness throughout the workout. Plus, especially as a coach, you have to check for biomechanics of your athletes. Their biomechanics will break down a ton. So there'll be a ton of energy leaks during their sprinting, they'll sprint side to side almost. They're pumping their arms insanely hard, wincing, don't have any sort of relaxation in their body. Their jumping and landing mechanics break down too, which is extremely dangerous in basketball where you're jumping and landing 100 to 200 times a game. But also check for their mood. Check in with your athletes, check in with your teammates, talk to them a little bit. If they seem a little bit under the weather or a little bit less enthusiastic than normal, it may be because they're fatigued. So if an athlete normally enjoys the process, and it seems like it's becoming a grind to them where they're rarely expressing happiness, it could be a sign they need to listen to their body a little bit. And one quick tip right here, the best time to feel this out is the warm-up. It's easy, but it's something that no athlete wants to do. No athlete comes in the gym and looks forward to warming up. So the ones that aren't fatigued will probably be a little bit more energetic here, even though they don't necessarily want to. The ones that are fatigued are going to let that fatigue show. They're going to be showing discomfort, they're going to be showing unhappiness, their mechanics are going to break down, they're going to cut reps short. And this is really important to notice because you can still make changes to your training session based on that fatigue if you notice it in the warm-up. Plus, it's hard to measure actual fatigue. So we have to measure things that fatigue affects. So for example, measure your counter movement jump and non-counter movement jump before your fatigue. So maybe at the beginning of the off season, after a few rest days. Warm up, measure it, see what you get. Then once you get into those periods of a ton of load on your body, check those measurements again. If they're significantly lower or even a couple inches lower, that's a sign of fatigue for sure. And that's really the same thing for any performance measure. So if you're a football player and the main performance measure is the 40-yard dash, compare that 40-yard dash to maybe a Friday at the end of your training week. See how fatigued you are. But overall, you need stress to improve. Without properly stressing your body, you're never really going to progress. Plus, if you're resting too much and you're a little bit too much on the safe side, you're losing time to prepare when everyone else is working. Chances are if you don't occasionally cross that line into too much fatigue, you aren't tiptoeing that fine line close enough. So it's tough, and it makes it easier when you have science, but for normal athletes and coaches like us, we don't really have these scientific measures. So you have to learn how to feel out that balance a little bit more. But when it's monitored and you find that balance and you find that optimal level of stress, it'll create the best possible environment for an athlete to improve. But last thing I'll say, especially in today's game where youth basketball players are playing more games than ever throughout the year, always lean towards that caution. Fatigue that results in an injury will never be worth it, because you'll lose weeks, months, or even years of being able to stress your body properly. And that time recovering from injury is where you'll really lose ground against competitors. Not in the last bit of the last workout of the week where your body's burnt out, so you decided to take it a little bit easy. I'll give you a bunch of ways to prevent central fatigue in the next video. But for now, just stay tuned. We have a lot more coming, I promise.